Every year, hundreds of thousands of aviation enthusiasts gather in Oshkosh, Wisconsin for AirVenture. This year's theme was Inspiring the Future of Aviation. To that end, something new and revolutionary took flight. Welcome to the Experiment in Optimal Learning, a groundbreaking series of workshops designed to reshape aviation training. The Optimal Learning Experiment set out to answer a critical question. Can we make aviation training more effective, meaningful, and even fun? With 6 unique workshops, participants explored innovative, principles-based teaching methods and practical strategies to enhance their flying skills.
I think overall, we were on the right track. And we've gotten buy-in from the other instructors who are here. That's been key to the success. And a number of the participants have signed up for multiple workshops, which is really great. Yeah, of course, I don't teach primary training. I've been instructing since 1987, and usually I've seen the result of the training system. A lot of the presenters here have seen the same thing, so it's not isolated. In fact, it's a global problem. We really just need to kind of regroup the flight training system and focus on the customer again, I think, and really concentrate on doing our best for them. Yeah, the hands-on part, of course, everything we do in the airplane is tactile, right? I mean, our feet are involved, our hands are involved, controlling an airplane around 3 axes and 3 dimensions, which is unusual for human beings. Typically, we live on a 2-dimensional life. Of course, that's a big piece of this, right? Communicating the message, getting it out there. I think even though we're working with smaller crowds, smaller groups, that's probably been beneficial. It's really allowed us to focus on individuals instead of a big, massive group. Aviation, I think, has for a long time lagged behind other areas. Like, let's take sports, for example. I mean, for a long time, they've known how to train athletes to be at their best for peak performance, right? And hopefully they might become more discerning consumers, which will in turn force instructors to become better at what we do. What I've enjoyed the most is we were hoping there would be some aha moments, and we've actually had some audible examples of that. So that's been really, really cool.
Each workshop offered a unique perspective on optimal learning. Let's take a closer look. In Think, See, Fly in 3D, participants learned to sense roll, yaw, and pitch in any airplane attitude, breaking down maneuvers into their basic components. This workshop emphasized inquiry-based learning, encouraging students and instructors to explore and experiment together, fostering a deeper understanding of the material. Mindset plays a crucial role in aviation. This workshop focused on how to reset your mind after making an error and the impact thoughts have on the pilot's performance. Risk management is essential for decision-making. The Sweat Factor used U.S. Air Force training concepts to apply the principles of risk management to abnormal situations. Basic flying skills are transferable to different types of aircraft. This workshop explored how to apply these skills to everyday flying. Energy management is key in emergencies. This workshop challenged participants to improve decision-making under stress. Participants shared their experiences and insights from the workshops.
The experience has been very engaging. It's been fascinating to visualize very basic elements of flight in a very different way, using elementary words such as push and pull and roll instead of often the more complicated. One of the things with Rich Stoll is the development of parents. So I just wanted to see a little bit inside the mind of the person who developed this revolutionary shift in how we think about exiting spins. I would describe a lot of the previous trainings in comparison with this one. I feel like, again, the simplicity of the wording allows me to understand complicated maneuvers. It's just been a really fun experience and very different from what I love, the ability to not just receive the training but to teach it, that you're beginning and then you're flipping around, you're acting as the instructor. Or I think that learning and teaching element is extremely essential, and I really appreciate using it here.
I have only read a couple books by Mr. Stoll, and I didn't really realize how he's trying to change how we've been taught this whole time. I mean, had tons of conversations with other pilots about how we're really behind on our education and how we're taught isn't quite up to par what it actually should be. The laws that we're taught don't quite apply to, upright or inverted, or really all these other positions an aircraft can be in, but you don't necessarily fly in them because you use your plane for A or B or whatever. And so I like that it's actually more accurate. It's the correct maneuver or position the plane is actually performing. The theory, the aerodynamics, the laws. I've gone to a bunch of Gordon seminars and Dagmar's and now Stoll's, and I've learned a ton. I was really excited because I really do like to learn and to be better. In aviation, I don't think in my brain there's ever a lot of progression. Like, things have been what they've been and they're gonna stay the way they are. That's just kind of my perception on, all the books and the teachings and stuff. Let's teach like this, let's do this. I'm pretty excited for the future of aviation to see how those things get incorporated.
Flight instructors also found the workshops transformative.
More participation from the younger flight instructors. We need to find a way to reach that. If we were to look at it from a management standpoint, a good manager or a leader, when somebody's brought on board and you're the supervisor, you're the manager, in a broad sense, when you're laying out goals for that person, would be, your goal here is to get my job. I want to start training my replacements. We're experimenting with a visualization exercise that I think we're proving this morning. This is how we can make the simulator more effective. New material, a new way of looking things. The 3D model that Rich has come out with, and I've been teaching Rich's material for 15 years, and I'm looking at the same material a little bit differently. And for me, it's some newer ways to look at some material I'm very, very familiar with. So I'm helping others, but others are helping me hone my own skills. I think the U.S. military spent a lot of money sending me to management schools, and I did a lot of management and supervisory work and had a couple of small businesses before. Well, the interesting thing is I kind of wasn't taught. I learned by doing. And the optimal learning concept, I think, is paving a road to better and safer instructors and instilling confidence in them by giving them material they can work with.
Organizers shared their visions and goals for the optimal learning experiment.
I'm feeling pretty good, actually. I've had some random, conversations with people, and I think it kind of falls on two sides. I mean, there are folks that have been here in previous years, and they value that hour-long session with an instructor where they're really trained on procedures and techniques, which is really our goal, as we've said before, is to have people position their proficiency training as normal and necessary. On the other hand, there are people that have come up to us and clearly value the optimal learning framework of learn, do, fly. Even though we're not flying here, we're certainly learning and doing with the knowledge, the workshops, the activity labs. People are really thinking, and they're participating, because there's not, frankly, the opportunity to sit in the back. So it really is a circle of learn, do, fly, at least as far as we can go without having the opportunity to fly in the airplane. So yes, at its core, it's working. One of the things that we hope to do is not limit the optimal learning clinic to just Oshkosh. And for that matter, not limit it at Oshkosh just during AirVenture. It's too important. Our mission, I think, is too big to just reserve this for 1 week out of a year. Stay tuned for really a lot more of this activity and for us kind of really reaching out to our audience. I think to really be effective, we've got to go to where you are to really reach everyone.
This experience has been very positive. I've met a lot of very nice people. I've gained a lot of knowledge from interacting with the people that I met. Very helpful, and the instructors were very knowledgeable. The 4 hours went in a blink of an eye. That's how motivating the material was. It was 3 parts to the lessons, and so there was movement and interaction and hands-on with the simulators, which made the time go really fast. I knew it was EAA. I've been going to the EAA since I've been 16. So I knew it was going to be very valuable, just being that it's the air show. I skimmed over an article that someone sent me, and there was a link to sign up for these classes. It was just very easy and helpful people, and I've networked, because I live 10 minutes from here, to come back and apply some of my learning using the simulators. All the nice people that I continue to meet in my aviation adventure, which is very exciting for me. All the new friends that I've made, the new connections that I've made, all the deeper knowledge. People are so easy to share what they know and be helpful. I have met people that I've learned concepts here that I've networked with that can take me even to a higher level. I'm very excited. For all my steps have been very exciting to me.
From a content and quality perspective of what this optimal learning experience is supposed to deliver, I think it's doing that. We're delivering an experience that is deep, dynamic, and rich, and is getting to working on an underlying, not of how to fly the approach, how to do that short field landing, what are your numbers for your airplane, but of how you think about flying, how you process information, how you learn, how pilots should be learning, how aviators should be processing the skill sets, the knowledge, the risk assessment, and the deeper kind of understanding, the first principles of flying an airplane. The audience that's coming here, the hundreds of thousands of people coming here, we're all interested in airplanes and aviation and improving our skill set. There's so much competition, there's so much going on of what we're doing here with the approach of a deeper level optimal learning, the way we used to do it, where there was more engagement with the technology, the sims, more engagement with the talent that exists here at EAA, the people we have coming in. We do hour-long sim blocks, scenario-based training. If we do something like this in the future, maybe in a tighter time frame where we can get more people in here and it's not as a bigger time commitment on people. If this is an experiment and any workshop presentation, we're trying to do something new, there's no mistakes, there's only learning, and mistakes lead to learning, and that's true in flight training, right? That's where my students learn best, is when they do something wrong and I keep them within a box of safety.
It has been such a joy to be with everybody again at AirVenture and to put this program together, culmination of months and months and months of work that has gone into it. It's such fun to finally launch this and see what happens with it. So we knew going in it was an experiment and that we were operating from a hypothesis. The basic way we train pilots today doesn't work very well. in terms of the success rate, in terms of the level of knowledge, a better way to think about how they could approach working with their students using the 9 principles of light airplane flying, and also using the learn, do, fly model, thinking of exercises, drills, techniques, approaches that they could take. If we do our jobs properly, that we will broaden people's perspective on what it looks like to take a flight lesson. And I think that works for both the learner and for the teacher. In terms of thinking about if we want to move people from rote memorization of material into understanding what it's all about, how to apply it to what they're learning to do, and then eventually to be able to use it to solve problems at the correlation level. You know, probably if we're talking about how would we describe it to, say, a potential pilot or a student pilot or somebody just has an interest in aviation, we just think it offers up a better roadmap for how we should approach teaching people. And it really isn't just aviation.
Well, you know, aviation education has a decades-long experience, and we all grew up using certain methods, and what this approach by Community Aviation and Rich Stowell brings is a kind of fresh approach, a new way to teach and a new way to think about aviation principles and concepts. Well, I was an educator for many years, and there are systems to evaluate the outcomes of educational techniques, but it certainly looks like they are. And my early experiences teaching as a CFI in the simulator suggests that these concepts that we're trying to teach may be effective. It looks like they're grasped quickly by the learners. I'm very interested in seeing particularly whether there's a difference by age of the pilots. In my first teaching encounter, where we were doing visualization exercises, I was pleased to see that both middle-aged pilots and a very young pilot, a 16-year-old, seemed to have the same ability to grasp these new techniques and concepts. And I hope I can learn new, more efficient teaching methods. Well, it's more fun than I thought it was going to be. I was very skeptical about the visualization exercises and how well they were going to work. And surprisingly, they worked extremely well.
They're going fairly well. We didn't know what to expect. We had reached out to the instructor population in the aviation community, so we did not know what to expect. We've had a lot of people in the audience that were not instructors. And so it's given us an opportunity to speak to them as much as it was to the instructors that we had originally structured this program for. And it's going fairly well. You know, a good coach or a good facilitator understands who they're working with and then takes advantage of all the various tools that they have available to them to go ahead and achieve the goal for any particular lesson, any particular flight, any particular goal that you're working on. There are a lot of different variables, a lot of different pieces and parts. And if we take a look at the 9 principles, which is what's overlying, or overlaying, if you will, this entire process, each one of those has taken a fundamental concept. I can work with someone and know that this is what we're working on today and understanding the basic fundamentals that we're dealing with. Everything that we've been doing here was about taking the 9 principles and overlying learn, do, fly on top of that. And the hands-on part of it gives you a chance, whether you're in a simulator or you're doing chair flying or any number of things. The hands-on part of it is to have an opportunity to just really touch it, taste it, feel it, get an understanding of it. That hands-on can be any number of things depending on what we're working on.
The experiment in optimal learning at AirVenture 2024 looked to transform flight training. The insights gained here will help shape how we teach and learn to fly in the future. This journey of discovery, innovation, and experimentation is far from over. Join us as we continue to push the boundaries of optimal aviation learning experiences. Together, we will reach new heights in the way flight training is delivered. For more information, visit our website and become part of the future of aviation training.